Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. I'm having a very hard time talking about what is currently happening in my country, but I'm also having a very hard time not talking about it. Like 2 weeks ago, a 2-year-old child was kidnapped by the federal government despite a court order not to do so. Many people have died in the custody or at the hands of immigration officials in the United States, and it is very difficult to trust the official accounts of those deaths when, in the 2 cases that have been videotaped, federal officials have clearly and obviously lied. But I worry that even in saying that, I have lost the 2% of people who are going to watch this video who I really want to reach. I simply don't know how to talk about this stuff online because we are so profoundly, unprecedentedly siloed in our information distribution systems that we simply don't hear each other, and when we do hear each other, it's very difficult to actually listen to each other. I mean, it's not like this video is going to reach a representative sample of America, Hank. According to a recent Nerdfighteria census, more people in this community voted for Jill Stein than Donald Trump. I can't reach across the aisle effectively because no people on the other side of the aisle are going to hear me, and in turn, I don't hear them. What I hear are the most obnoxious, despicable, and outrageous takes among those I disagree with, and then I extrapolate that all people I disagree with must share those takes, thereby hardening my silo. I don't know how to break down those silos. I can't even convince my own MAGA family members that people who were murdered were in fact murdered. Like, even though Alex Preddy had both hands on the ground and was disarmed when he was shot 10 times, it doesn't look like murder to some of my family members. Even though 67% of the homicides this year in Minneapolis have been committed by ICE, they still feel that the streets are unsafe and need to be made safer. I guess I can talk about it from a historical perspective since I've read a lot of history. The rule of law in the United States has never been applied fairly or justly. I mean, from witch hunting to lynchings to executions, state-sponsored, state-sanctioned killing have long been part of the American story. On that level, I suppose there's nothing new here, but here's what is new, at least in my view. The executive branch of our government is claiming and being allowed to claim widespread powers to detain people living inside the United States without much interference from the other branches of government. Or I suppose I can talk about it from a religious perspective, which might resonate across ideological lines. I believe in a God who chose to be born human to poor parents in a foreign land. This God grew up to preach good news to the poor and the hungry and the imprisoned. This God literally said, "I was a stranger and you took me in." But at this point in the video, I fear I'm only preaching to the choir, who will of course tell me that I'm right, and if anything, I'm not going far enough. And I worry all that does is harden our silos, which of course means that I have my own unchecked cognitive biases, but I don't know how to check them in a world where my information distribution system has the architecture it currently has. I mean, do the people who respond to memes and deepfakes with their own memes and deepfakes have the right approach? I don't know. Does that undermine whatever credibility I have with those who might disagree with me? Or does it in fact encourage resistance to an increasingly authoritarian government? I really don't know what the right strategy is, and I'm not convinced that anyone does, because while there are many precedents for our current historical moment, in none of those cases was the social internet as big a deal as it is now. Our ways of distributing information in the past were much slower and less fractured. If I sound a little freaked out, Hank, that's because I am. I am heartbroken, I am enraged, but I am also scared. This level of divisiveness, the willingness to tell big and easily disprovable lies, the blaming of disenfranchised communities, the failure of institutions to rein in government overreach, all of that should scare us. But does that mean I should be on Twitter or X? Does this video make anything better or indeed anything worse? I don't know. I do think real-life collective action matters. Protests, videotaping, making one's voice heard inside and outside the ballot box. But I don't know what, if anything, to be doing online. That said, Hank, there is mounting evidence that despite everything, the truth does retain power. I often feel like the social internet just reinforces people's pre-existing worldviews while further isolating them from countervailing information, but I'm starting to think it's not that simple. Like, polling indicates there are real changes happening among the US voting public, which has shifted by over 20% on the subject of ICE just in the last few months. So at least for now, I think the truth does have some power that I worried it had lost amid the memes and deepfakes, which, for the moment at least, is where I am finding hope, albeit, I will confess, a bit of a thin-lit hope. Hank, I'll see you on Friday.